Alana William, a 22-year-old young woman, was known for her constant smile and unwavering determination. She had been working at the No Sun Mansion for 2 years, always maintaining the discretion and dedication that ensured her livelihood. Her mother, Grace, was gravely ill and depended on Alana's care, as did her 2 younger siblings, Molly, 15, and Jasmine, 10. The routine at the mansion was demanding, but Alana remained strong. She woke up before sunrise and worked late into the night, doing everything she could to ensure her family had the bare minimum. Her relationship with her employers was almost non-existent, except for the rare moments when Richard Lawson, the head of the family, spoke to her. While working at the mansion, Alana thought of her mother, whose health was deteriorating each day. Alana knew she needed more money for medicine, but opportunities were scarce. She sighed, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. Later that day, Alana returned to her rented apartment in the city's suburbs. Her mother, Grace, was lying on the couch weakly. "How was work today, my dear?" Grace asked, trying to smile. "It was good, Mom. Just a normal day," Alana replied, kneeling beside the couch and holding her mother's hand. Molly and Jasmine ran into the room, their laughter filling the space. Alana smiled at her siblings, feeling a moment of peace amidst the chaos of her life. "Alana, you've been working so hard. I'm worried about you," Grace said, caressing her daughter's face. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll take care of everything. Just focus on getting better," Alana replied, trying to hide her own worries. "Alana, did you bring anything tasty from work?" Jasmine asked, her eyes shining with hope. "Sorry, Jasmine. I couldn't bring anything today," Alana replied with a sad smile. "But I promise we'll do something special this weekend." As night fell, Alana went to bed exhausted but determined to keep fighting. She dreamed of a day when she would find a better-paying job. She knew her life wouldn't be easy, but she was willing to do anything to ensure her family's well-being. Despite the difficulties, she clung to the hope of better days. The next morning, Alana began her routine again. She woke up early, had breakfast, dropped her siblings off at school, and headed to the mansion for another day of work. Alana continued with her tasks as usual, unaware that something would happen that night to change her life forever. Alana was finishing her shift at the No Sun Mansion. Dinner had been served, the dishes washed, and she was about to leave to catch the last bus home. "Alana, I need to talk to you," said a cold voice behind her. It was Richard Lawson, standing in the kitchen doorway with a grim expression. "Yes, sir?" Alana replied, feeling a chill run down her spine. Richard rarely spoke to her at this hour. "Come to my office, we need to discuss some matters," he ordered, already turning and walking down the hallway. Alana hesitated for a moment, knowing she had no choice. She followed Richard to the office, entered, and closed the door. The office was an intimidating place, full of imposing furniture and Richard's dominant presence. He sat behind his large mahogany desk and gestured for Alana to approach. Alana, trying to maintain her composure, asked about the purpose of the discussion. Richard informed her that despite her satisfactory performance, there was more he expected from her, his disturbing gaze intensifying her discomfort. Confused and alarmed by his tone, Alana expressed her lack of understanding, insisting she fulfilled all her duties. Without warning, Richard approached her, his presence becoming increasingly oppressive, and insinuated that pleasing him required more than what she was doing. He then grabbed her forcefully before she could react. Although she resisted, his strength overpowered her, and that night he subjected her to abuse. Alana's desperate attempts to break free and her pleas for him to stop were met with cold indifference as Richard asserted his control over her. When she finally managed to escape, Alana ran out of the office with tears streaming down her face. She left the mansion in shock, her hands trembling as she caught the bus home. She couldn't process what had happened. Upon arriving home, she found her mother asleep and her siblings already in bed. Alana entered her room, closed the door silently, and collapsed on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. "How could he do this to me? What am I going to do now? I can't tell anyone. No one will believe me," I have to be strong for the sake of my mother and siblings. But how will I face this alone? Alana thought, feeling desperate and lost. The following days were a blur of fear and pain for Alana. She tried to maintain normalcy for her family, but inside, she was shattered. She continued working at the mansion, avoiding Richard whenever possible, but the trauma of that night haunted her like a constant shadow. Alana knew she needed to find a way to move forward, but couldn't see a clear path. The only certainty she had was that she would do anything to protect her family, even if it meant bearing the weight of her terrible secret alone. Months passed slowly for Alana. She maintained her work routine at the no-sun mansion, but the shadow of that terrible night never left. One day, after experiencing constant nausea and realizing her period was late, she decided to take a pregnancy test. With trembling hands, she saw the positive result. Alana was pregnant. Alana knew she had to tell Richard the truth, despite all the fear and shame she felt. On a rainy day, after serving breakfast, she gathered the courage and went to his office. "Mr. Lawson, I need to talk to you. It's very important," Alana said with a trembling voice as she waited for him to look up from the papers on his desk. Richard, focused on his work, dismissed Alana's concern without lifting his eyes, questioning if it could wait. Alana, however, knew it couldn't, and with great difficulty, revealed that she was pregnant and that he was the father. Her words caught Richard's attention, and he finally looked at her with a cold, penetrating gaze. He reacted with indignation, interpreting her statement as an accusation. Alana, struggling to hold back tears, insisted on the truth of her situation, feeling lost and unsure of what to do, but believing he needed to be informed. "This is ridiculous. You're trying to blackmail me. I'll make sure you never work in this city again. Get out of my house now," Richard shouted, rising with a fury that made Alana recoil. Richard mercilessly expelled Alana. She was thrown out of the mansion, carrying only a small suitcase with her clothes. Without a job and nowhere to go, Alana wandered the streets of Atlanta in search of some refuge. The news of the pregnancy was a shock to her mother, Grace, who was becoming increasingly frail. "What are we going to do, my daughter? How will we survive?" Grace asked, her concern evident. "I'll find a way, Mom. I promise I won't let you go without," Alana said, holding her mother's hands with determination. Over time, Alana began to face a series of challenges. Finding a new job proved impossible, as Richard's influence extended throughout the city. Whenever she tried, she was rejected with vague excuses, but she knew the truth. He had fulfilled his threat. "I'm sorry, Miss William, but we have no vacancies at the moment," said the manager of a local restaurant, avoiding her eyes. Alana, desperate for work, pointed out that she had seen the job ad on the door, expressing her urgent need for the position. The manager, however, informed her that the vacancy had already been filled and quickly closed the door, leaving her without an opportunity to plead further. Desperate, Alana tried to seek support from charitable organizations, but resources were limited. Without a job, Alana could no longer maintain the apartment she rented for her family. The nights on the streets were cold and dangerous, but she didn't give up. Everything she did was for her child and her family. One night, while Alana and her mother were sitting in a temporary shelter, with Molly and Jasmine beside them, Grace held her daughter's hand. "You're so strong, Alana. I know we'll get through this," Grace said, her voice weak but full of hope. "I won't give up, Mom. I'll find a way to get us out of this situation," Alana replied, tears in her eyes. Alana's life was difficult, but she knew she had to keep fighting. Every day was a battle, but she clung to the hope that one day justice would prevail. She didn't know how, but she was determined to ensure a better future for her child, despite all the adversities she faced. As the months passed, Alana's belly grew, and so did her determination. She knew that the only way to secure a better future for her child was to prove that Richard Lawson was the father. Determined to fight, Alana sought lawyers willing to help her, but Richard's influence seemed omnipresent. Alana found a small law office in a less affluent neighborhood. The lawyer, Marcos Reese, was known for taking on difficult cases and fighting for justice. "Mr. Reese," I need your help. I'm pregnant, and the father of my child is Richard Lawson. He abused me and now refuses to acknowledge paternity, Alana explained, her voice filled with emotion. I understand. This is very serious. We'll need evidence to proceed with this. Do you have any proof, witnesses? Marcos asked with a concerned look. I have nothing but my word. He's a powerful man and has bought everyone to stay silent, but I'm willing to fight, Alana replied, determined. We'll start with a paternity test. If we can get a court order, he won't be able to refuse. Be prepared for a tough battle, but we won't give up, Marcos said with an encouraging tone. The legal battle was long and exhausting. Richard used all his power and influence to delay the process. Friends and acquaintances who could have testified for Alana were bought off or intimidated, and many doors closed on her. Alana attended every hearing, and despite all the obstacles, she never gave up. Her faith in justice and her child's future kept her strong. Alana sat by her mother's bedside, overwhelmed by the enormity of the challenge she faced, feeling as if all her efforts were in vain against the immense power opposing her. Her mother, frail but full of pride, acknowledged how much Alana had done and drew strength from her daughter's resilience, expressing how proud she was regardless of the outcome. As time went on, Alana's pregnancy advanced, and she began to lose hope of winning the legal battle. Resources were limited, and Richard's influence seemed unbreakable. One afternoon, after yet another frustrating hearing, Marcos had a serious conversation with Alana. Alana, we're running out of options. Richard is using every trick to avoid the paternity test. Without concrete evidence, the court may decide in his favor, Marcos said, clearly frustrated. So, that's it? I'm going to lose this battle, and my child will grow up without his father's acknowledgement. Alana asked, tears in her eyes. I won't give up on you, Alana, but we need to be realistic. Prepare yourself for the possibility of not getting the justice you deserve, Marcos replied with regret. Exhausted and emotionally drained, Alana made the difficult decision to give up the legal battle. She needed to focus on surviving and ensuring a minimum level of security for her soon-to-be-born child. Even without Richard's acknowledgement, she knew she would give her all to raise her child with love and dignity. The following months were extremely difficult. Alana gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, whom she named Lucas. Life on the streets of Atlanta was harsh, but Lucas's presence gave her the strength to keep fighting. She knew that somehow, she would find a way to provide a better future for him. Lucas, my love, you are the light of my life. I promise I'll do everything to give you a better life. We'll get through this together, Alana said, holding her baby in her arms. Alana knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to raise her baby despite all the challenges. 5 years passed since Alana gave birth to Lucas. Life had been incredibly difficult for her and her family, but her determination never wavered. Living in shelters and relying on the help of charities and a few friends, Alana did the impossible to support her son. Lucas, now 5 years old, was a bright and loving child who brought joy to Alana's life. One hot summer afternoon, while Alana and Lucas were playing at the local park, she received an unexpected call. It was Marcos Reese, the lawyer who had tried to help her years ago. Alana, it's Marcos. I need to talk to you. It's about Richard Lawson, Marcos said with a serious voice. What happened, Marcos? Alana asked, feeling a chill down her spine. Richard is very ill. He has little time and wants to talk to you. He wants to ask for forgiveness and acknowledge Lucas as his son, Marcos explained. Alana remained silent for a moment, processing the information. He wants to see us? I don't know if I can do that. What if it's just another one of his manipulations? I understand your hesitation, Alana, but maybe this is a chance to get justice for Lucas. Think about it, Marcos said, trying to be encouraging. Alana spent the night awake, reflecting on Marcos's proposal. In the morning, she decided she needed to face Richard for her son's sake. The next day, she met Marcos in front of the hospital. Mom, where are we going? Lucas asked, holding Alana's hand. We're going to meet someone important, my love, Alana replied, trying to sound confident. Okay, Mom, Lucas said with an innocent smile. When they arrived at the hospital, Marcos led them to Richard's room. Alana felt a knot in her stomach upon seeing the man who had caused so much pain in her life. Richard lay in the bed, visibly weakened and aged by illness. "Alana, thank you for coming," Richard said with a weak, trembling voice. "I came for my son, not for you," Alana replied firmly. "I understand. I've done terrible things, and I'm sorry. I want to ask for forgiveness. I can't leave with this guilt," Richard said, tears in his eyes. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Richard, but Lucas deserves to know the truth," Alana said, holding her son's hand. Richard looked at Lucas, his gaze full of regret. "Lucas, my son, I am your father. I'm sorry for everything I did to your mother. I want you to know that I deeply regret it. If I had time, I would do everything differently." Alana held Lucas closer as tears streamed down her face. The scene was surreal, but she knew it was an important step for her son's future. Richard handed Marcos the documents acknowledging Lucas as his legitimate heir, ensuring him a significant portion of his fortune. "Lucas, this is your father. He wants to help us now," Alana explained, her voice choked with emotion. "Are you going to take care of us?" Lucas asked, his eyes wide and innocent. "Yes, son. I'll do everything I can to take care of you," Richard replied. The illness had broken that cold and cruel man. A few days later, Richard passed away, leaving a complicated legacy for Alana and Lucas. The fortune he left was enough to get Alana and her family off the streets, providing them with a better life. Alana knew that despite the pain and difficulties, she had finally found justice for her son. Grace, her voice full of pride, acknowledged Alana's hard-won victory, recognizing that she had finally secured the life Lucas deserved. Alana, filled with gratitude and joy, thanked her mother for her unwavering support and looked forward to building a new life together, knowing she could now provide a better future for her family. Alana and Lucas's lives were finally improving. Despite the scars of the past, their future was full of hope. With Richard Lawson's inheritance, they moved to a comfortable apartment in a safe neighborhood. Alana focused on Lucas's education and began a professional course in business administration, while Lucas started elementary school. Although the adjustment was challenging, Alana felt more secure in her new environment. She faced the stigma of her past and the responsibility of single motherhood, but found support from Marcos Reese, a close friend and mentor. They discussed her progress, and Marcos offered encouragement, reminding her of the support she had. Alana also joined support groups for women in similar situations, sharing her story and finding strength in helping others. She worked part-time at a nonprofit organization, giving back to the community that supported her. At home, Grace was receiving good care and enjoyed peace of mind knowing her family was safe. Malik and Jasmine were thriving in their new schools. Alana, sitting with Grace, reflected on the transformation in their lives, recognizing their progress and the support of her family. Despite the difficulties, Alana felt she had emerged stronger from the long and painful journey. If you liked this story, click the like button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Leave your comments and share your ideas. This other story on your screen will also entertain you.